A man asked me for coffee today after work, and I politely told him no, and then brought myself to McAllister's, where I got this croissant, this grilled chicken sandwich, and an entire bowl of broccoli cheddar soup and a Dr. Pepper for under $25. Now, I'm not going to argue with you about how you like to date, just like I don't want you to argue with me about how I like to date. But coffee is never going to be an option for me. And just like I respect your choice to coffee, respect mine to not coffee.
Well, once again, the coffee discussion has reached the internet. And now, all of a sudden, our yearly conversation about coffee dates. And this young lady seems to think that a coffee date is not sufficient for getting her attention or having a date. I don't understand why there's still an issue, why there's a disconnect, but all over the internet and all over TikTok, they've been talking about it. Let's take a listen.
Let me get this straight. A black plus-size woman says she doesn't want to go on a coffee date, and y'all act like she committed a crime. The amount of violence in them comments, y'all saying she should just be grateful someone even asked her out. Huh? Grateful to be invited on a Woke and Sip interview disguised as a date? Be for real. Y'all didn't keep that same energy when skinny, light-skinned influencers said the same thing. But the moment a plus-size black woman sets a standard, suddenly she's asking for too much, lying, or delusional. Baby, the internalized fat phobia and brokenness is very loud. Saying she's lucky to get asked out is so wild. What y'all really mean is she's not your standard of beauty, so how dare she have any? A first date sets the tone. If her standard is something thoughtful, romantic, or planned with actual effort, that's her right. Just like it's your right to swipe left if you're not down. But tearing her down, gaslighting her, that's projection. Some of y'all mad because she said no to coffee, but deep down, you know she would have said no to you too. And it shows. Black women, especially dark-skinned black women, are allowed to have preferences, standards, and boundaries. We are not settling for scraps no more. And if that bothers you, unpack that.
Okay, now it's got to be broken down into a colorism debate, a size shaming debate, all types of debates, because this woman here is having standards, and she is welcome to her standards, I know, but it's just really odd that this is the breaking point, because you're missing out on so many great people because you don't want to sit down and have a conversation with them before jumping into something as committed as $100 to $200 dinner. She just broke down that her lunch was $25 right there. Now multiply that by 2. Now you got a $50 date, right? When people say they want to go on a coffee date, it doesn't mean you have to drink coffee. It doesn't mean you even have to have coffee. The fact of the matter is women are skipping steps. And this is why we're seeing a lot of relationships that aren't coming to fruition because of materialism and people thinking that you're broke because you don't want to do anything but a coffee date. Also, these are the same women that want to date multiple men. And can you imagine if a man is trying to meet a woman, it adds up. And I don't care how much money you got. You could be a millionaire and you could still not want to waste money going out on dates with women who just want to be with you for the food. A date to see how much money you have, you know what I mean? Because that's what it ends up being now. But let's see what else some other people had to say about it.
It be the black women who know that they have limited options with men that always want to try to make a man look like you are overweight and you're a solid 3. The audacity of you. Now, we all know that lady who went viral about talking about some man invited her on a coffee date and she told him no, and she went to go get her a sandwich, a soup, and a croissant, and a Dr. Pepper. You lucky you got asked out on a date. Chivalry is dead nowadays. And you really gonna try to make this man look crazy for asking you on a coffee date because you don't like coffee? Clearly, you like everything that's unhealthy for your ass. And I'm going to touch on every aspect of the situation because y'all got me f***ed up and I'm vexed. And y'all know me. I'm quick to call everybody out on that shit and I don't give a f*** because you can't whoop me. But bitch, your hungry ass should have just said that you was hungry. But no, your big, insecure, overweight decided to sit your phone down while your fat ass was eating and press record and talking about how the man was asking you on a coffee date and you politely told him no. And then everybody over here defending you talking about, oh, well, she been told him that she didn't like coffee. And he kept asking her to go on coffee dates. Okay, you be the same that don't want to be talked to in the store. But yeah, you talking to that you know that ain't giving you the conversation that you want. And then you want to complain. What sense do that make? You just be your own fucking enemy. And it's plain as day. Now, would he have been wrong if he would have took her on a date to the goddamn gym? I don't think so. I think that's actually beneficial for her and him. The man clearly just wanted to get to know your ass by asking you out for coffee. You lucky you got asked out on a date. You just ungrateful. Y'all be the same women that be like, oh, if he talked to me in a grocery store, he better offer to pay for my groceries, or what do we have to talk about? The men don't know you. Y'all be wanting men to do for y'all just because you got a coochie. You. And not only that, I saw somebody else stitch my homegirl video on this topic talking about, oh, I think we should take people's stories on TikTok with a grain of salt because people be telling stories just to get paid. So y'all exploiting yourselves and embarrassing yourselves and other people who may or may not exist for $1 that you may or may not get, talking about you're a content creator. Oh yeah, the world is ending, y'all. These women don't know what to do. They don't know how to be women. When do we get it together, bro? Because calling y'all out of y'all making it seem like I'm doing something wrong. No, I'm trying to hold everybody accountable here. Because once we all take accountability, can't nobody take from us, bro. But like that, and there are some men like that, but there's more women like that in this world. Because you are just so miserable. And then y'all sit here and make it seem like all black men act like that. No, because if all black men act like that, all black women act like that. And that's not true. Some of us really out here doing what it takes to be better people. Doing what it takes to really be at peace and be successful and be happy and love healthily. You know what I'm saying? Y'all weird as and that pisses me off. All of this because he asked to take you on a coffee date. All of this because of a coffee date. He shouldn't have asked your to go nowhere. He shouldn't even spoke to your ass. Y'all better be mindful who y'all be speaking to. I see why fellas don't talk to y'all. I see why they don't speak to y'all. That's why women like me shoot my shot. Because it's like y'all, they be shooting their shots and then y'all do like that. Like, I can't stand you, y'all. I'm allergic. I am literally deadly allergic to you. Please stay the f away from my black men before I have to f y'all up. Okay?
She said it all. She said a mouthful for sure, but she does echo some of the sentiments, you know, because how many times are we going to have to explain this conversation? Like, asking a woman on a coffee date is not a judgment on the woman or the value of the woman. Like, I don't know where they got that twisted. Somehow in the messaging of knowing your worth, queen, and don't accept less, they've interpreted coffee dates as bare minimum. When a coffee date could be followed by the $300 dinner that you're asking for, right? You know, it's not like that's all he can offer is a coffee date. Oh, the only reason he's taking you on a coffee date is because that's all he can afford. That's the stupidity in this argument. And that's why, you know, a lot of times it's not even worth arguing about. You know, like she said, just, you know, keep it to yourself. I'm allow you to come to me. This woman says she's going to shoot her shot at us. You know what I'm saying? So we going to allow her to shoot her shot at us. Because in this day and age, you can't afford to get in a relationship with a woman who doesn't like you as much as you like her. Because it could just lead to wasting money. It could lead to you wasting your time.
I don't care what y'all talking about. The lady that recently sparked that coffee date conversation, because these are discussions that's been had for a long time. She'd be lucky if anybody asked her for directions. But now you don't do coffee dates. Now, I'm not saying you have to, but I'm saying a lot of y'all don't know how to date. There's this romanticized idea of how much money he needs to spend, where he needs to take you, all these things to legitimize it as a date, opposed to looking at it as, okay, it's low pressure. You're safe, because most of the time a coffee date would be during the daytime. Mm-hmm. Low expectations. He can't expect nothing from you. You sure can't expect nothing from him. You're not committed to getting dressed and putting on your finest and doing all the things, the full theater that you would do if it's a dinner date. It's a nice icebreaker. It's simple, right? And through the coffee date, he could get to figure out if he like you. You could get to figure out if you like him, and it could go anywhere or it could go nowhere, right?
But, you know, the problem is a lot of them think they'll never have an opportunity to do the dress up dinner date. So they look at this as their last opportunity to get anything. And then they don't end up getting anything is what really happens. They don't end up getting anything because they have now stopped themselves, stopped the process in its natural place. And like I said, they do everything to get in the way of meeting the man of their dreams. Like literally, it doesn't matter. They're going to get in the way of it. Sabotage, self-sabotage is what they call it.
Right? And through the coffee date, he could get to figure out if he like you. You could get to figure out if you like him, and it could go anywhere or it could go nowhere, right? Yeah. Opposed to committing. How many times, ladies, the ones that are dating, how many times have you gone on a date with a man and realized quickly he's an idiot, but you already committed the outfit, you already committed the night, you already committed yourself to this date, so now you got to go through it, and now you suffering through that shit. Like, let's be real. Like,
but they like that suffering. That's part of the victim narrative, the story, so they can go back and tell the story to people. But meanwhile, you just waste this man's time, effort, and money. You know, it doesn't feel good as a man to have that happen to you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand who taught you that that is a good way to have somebody in your life, to then just maybe ghost after that. You know what I mean? Like, it's so stupid and unnecessary.
I don't get it. I remember when I worked downtown Brooklyn when I lived in New York. And if you know downtown Brooklyn, you know there's the fire chief department over there. There's City College. There's all the courts. There's a Chase head office over there. There's Con Edison. There's all types of, you know, major companies that is there. So you could be walking to the halal spot to get a gyro or something, and you talking to a judge, or you talking to a lawyer, or you talking to a doctor, because there's a bunch of medical centers down there too. This person is in charge of the NICU or something. Like, you never know. And I've seen people on cute, you know, coffee date, whether it's at Panera Bread or wherever. And I don't know, because I know because of the environment, she's probably making good money and he's probably making good money. Both of these people are on a coffee date, whether it's during their lunch break or after work. Yep. Like, once again, I'm seeing single women telling other single women not to take coffee dates, and men cosplaying as women telling other single women not to take coffee dates. This is, I'm so glad I'm out of this dating pool. I'm so glad I'm out of this. And strategically, I've always dated with a purpose. I wasn't in the pool very long anyway, but to say no to a coffee date, especially if you can gauge the pedigree of the man, whew.
She was spitting.
I used to be a madam. Running my agency was about time exchanged for money. Your time has a value. I see a lot of people on this app putting down coffee dates, but I want to get you to look at them from a different perspective, because I see coffee dates as a high value date. When I ran my agency, rates started at $1,000 an hour. If you equate your time to a value, $1,000 an hour, and you go on a dinner date with someone, and let's say it's 5 hours, because it takes you as a woman an hour and a half to get ready, 30 minutes there and back, 2 hours at dinner. This is not including if you have kids, the prep time there. So you've spent and invested 5 hours of time into this dinner date with someone you probably don't even know. That's a $5,000 investment. This might sound controversial, but it's not low value on his part. It's low value on your part. The high value move is to value the one resource you will never get back, which is your time, and to hold yourself in such high esteem that you let that man know that he has to earn your time, because that resource is so valuable and because you are so valuable. It's also a way of centering men, because you're placing so much emphasis on what he's doing for you. You're making your worth about that man, the date he's planning, how much he's spending, rather than how much you value your own time and how busy you are and how full your life is, that you're not going to give that away to anyone. And that man earning the right to have it. I understand some of you might hate to hear this message, because you have your worth wrapped up so much in what someone else does and how they treat you. You control who you invest your time in and who you waste it on. I hope this opens some of your eyes, because a 30-minute coffee date where you don't put in a lot of effort shows that man that you're busy, that you value yourself, that he has to earn that time with you. Let's get into it in the comments.
This conversation's so crazy, you got me even agreeing with the madams. You know, maybe Corey Holcomb was right. A lot of these relationships are transactional these days, so you have to break them down into your time analysis, because I think most men probably think of it in the way she does. Like, if I'm a busy man, my time is money, man. I can't go out here and have a whole night with a knucklehead chick, you know, a chick that's just acting very crazy from the beginning, because y'all aren't even thinking about that part. Y'all so busy shooting down the idea of a coffee date, you don't even realize you're being evaluated. And I saw that in a lot of the comments. A lot of the women were thinking, this is a job interview over a bean juice. This is a job interview. They want to have you in a job interview. See, it seems like anytime any power differential has been shifted back to the man, although you all want these traditional relationships, somehow you all don't think that this early phase is anything. When many, many people have gotten together off of a very simple interaction in the first. That's what I'm saying. You all do not see the potential, and you've never seen the potential. That's why you all pass over so many guys. You all make snap judgments, and you're missing people left and right because you've made a judgment on somebody before they've even opened their mouth. Where if we did that as men, there would be a lot of judgments that you all don't like. Of course, that woman over there in the bra, the one with the booty shorts. Yeah, I know what she is. I know how to get her. And you would say we have more information for making those assumptions, but you all wouldn't like us making those assumptions about you, especially about some of the things you all do, some of the superficial things you all do on dates. You can look at any of the dating shows, the Pop the Balloon. They'll dash the whole possibility of dealing with this guy because they didn't like his shoes or his shirt. Things that can be changed. So this is the core of the problem, is superficiality and greed. It all comes back to greed. They want to get as much out of this man on the first date so that then they can go back and say that they did that. So that then they can show that they are worth more because they got this man to spend X amount of dollars on them on the first date. Well, when he gets there and realizes you don't have a personality and that you're boring as hell on the first date, don't be surprised if he doesn't call back. Let's hear what she's got to say in her apology now.
I have two regrets about my coffee dates video. One is that I didn't make that video longer than a minute, because if I knew it was going to take off the way that it did, I certainly would have made it longer than a minute so I could get the coin. And
so now she's worried about the monetization because on TikTok, the videos have to be longer than a minute to get monetized. Okay. Yeah. We starting to see the real motivation for this conversation in her eyes.
two, I would have tagged McAllister's. The amount of promo that McAllister's has gotten from that video alone, in fact, I might still reach out to them to ask them to sponsor the next date. And to the lady who said,
she worried about sponsorships. You see how unserious she is at this moment? This is what the real reason is for this. This is what the real reason is.
that she doesn't believe any man asks me on a date, and she doesn't believe that I'm used to getting asked out on dates, to that I would say you are correct. But you are correct because I ended a 5-year relationship this year. To my followers who did not know that, we can unpack that at a later time. Breakup is you step your foot back into the dating world. So I've only been back in the dating world for a couple months. And that was maybe my third video about my dating experiences thus far. Maybe third. It doesn't matter. The point is that was not the first time, and it won't be the last time. I will say, once I clock in with somebody, once I lock in, he won't be getting posted just like that relationship did get posted. Why? Because if Jackie Osimo has taught me nothing else, if you don't want to talk about, don't put it on the internet.
We can see where her mentality is. We can see why her situation is what it is. She's already had a relationship. Sounds like it was just for clout. You know what I mean? This conversation that she had. She brought this up for clout. And we have to be careful of the clout demons out here looking for an opportunity to come up. They're looking to get engagement. They're engagement farming. They're rage baiting. They're click baiting you into a fever pitch so that you can get angry about it. You can spout off about it, and that you can then engage and make their platform bigger, make their pockets bigger, whatever. But the fact still remains, there are women that hold this mentality in the comments. And a lot of them, I am seeing a lot of people that are reasonable, that are like, what are you talking about? You're really losing your mind. Like, what are you talking about? But they're being drowned out by the majority of women who are actually condoning this type of behavior. And that's unfortunate, because we're starting to see why things are the way they are in the dating market. You cannot complain about there being pee in the dating pool if you behave in the way that this young lady has, in turning her nose up at a coffee date. That's just the reality of it. And until people realize that fact, we're going to continue to have some of the same problems we've been having. Anyway, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. This is Fawcett Media.